Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Experience. I'm Kieran Collins, joined by Devin Williams, and today we'll be interviewing Coach Tyler of Severn.
So, Coach, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing good, Coach.
Good.
So, we're going to start by asking you, where'd you start your football career off? Like, how did it all start off? Like, high school, college, and where'd it go from there?
Playing or coaching?
Playing.
Okay. So I've been playing ever since Pee Wee football, and played throughout middle school from for the school I went to high school with in Bethesda, Maryland, Landon School. After Landon, graduated there, went off to Trinity College, played Trinity College 4 years, and after graduation from from Trinity, came back home to Maryland, coached in Landon for 2 years before moving up to Connecticut and coaching even more. Coached at a school, public high school, Sunset High School, Coach Bill Mella, and then that next season coached with Trinity College from 2009 to 2012.
All right. Well, how did you get into coaching? Like, how to transition from playing football to coaching, and how did you get your first job as a coach?
It was a natural transition, actually. So when I came home that summer after graduation from Trinity, I came home and I was training some kids who knew that I played at Trinity, and the coach at that point was my former OC at Landon. Said, "Well, you interested in this?" Sure. So not really knowing exactly what it entailed, what I was getting myself into, just knowing that I would be able to continuously work with the guys I was already working with. And there, I was a DB's coach. I coached running backs as well, and we had some very good results.
Anyone go any big colleges from there, or NFL, or any big stories from there?
No, I have not coached any NFL players. Trained with a couple practice squad players on the side.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, but they weren't affiliated with my schools. They just guys I knew from the area. The guys I coached at Landon that first year, though, two of them went to Trinity, and two others went to other schools to play football, D3 football, Kenyans and stuff like that. But the fun part is most of those guys were also big time top level lacrosse players. So they went on to play D1 lacrosse. So that may sound familiar, right?
Yeah. Makes sense for around here.
As you guys have done around here, exactly. But like you said, it's just good guys, great time, and lots of hard work. And that's the funny part. The OC of that football team was the head coach, Hall of Fame, Rob Boyley, who is, everybody kind of knows. So.
And then going off the transition to coaching, since you were so fresh off your playing career when you went into coaching, was there anything that when you started coaching, you were like, when I was a player, I liked this from a coach, I didn't like this, that you thought about?
Oh, big time. When you're coaching, there's so much more preparation that's not physical preparation, right? So as we talk, prepare your body to lift, prepare your body to condition, right? Well, I'm sitting mostly at a computer watching film, or watching and studying, particular exercises or drills that are going to help you be successful in your particular position. So I guess the studying, preparation aspect of things, I didn't want to accept.
Okay.
Because when you're in college, you're going to have a grad assistant, you're going to have a position coach. The grad assistant is like, the apprentice, right? So they're doing all the studying for you for that position coach.
Okay, yeah.
Who is also feeding information to your DC, who later feeds information to, it's like a little hierarchy. But there's just a element of groundwork that I completely skipped over, and didn't really realize until I actually started coaching. Like, oh wow, it's not just me coming out here and going off of what I know. There is a aspect of learning and what I would say what I really valued was going back to older coaches and just listening. Like when they talk war stories, there are lessons in those war stories. You know what I mean? And you got to really pick them out, and then as you talk about them. All right, give me more details about this, because it's just those little aspects that are going to help you further along as you go in your coaching career.
Definitely. It's interesting how like a lot of coaches are just former players in general. And you hear about I guess people like Bill Belichick. I don't think he ever played football. I don't know how he started.
But he did all throughout high school.
In high school, he did.
Yes. So I mean, and that's the thing. Like with his dad being his dad was a heralded recruiter too.
Yeah.
So when it comes to little intricacies and nuances and you've heard these stories of, all right, look at the whites of the knuckles. If you can see if that bone is stuck out of the knuckle, then he's coming in. That lineman wants to come in and run block on you. If it's nice and light, he's pass blocking, he's dropping. Little things like that. Well, how do you pick that up when you're 7 yards away, right?
Yeah.
But he's a recruiter. Like these are the little nuances and intricate, specific things that he's picking up on. Well, that's fed him to being the greatest coach of all time, right? Now, in terms of, like I said, me going off of war stories and going with other coaches, it's you just got to hear. I mean, not everybody's been to a state championship. Not everybody's been to a state playoff. But I promise you, that's a different world than your regular Saturday afternoon game.
Yeah.
It's a different world because it's just a different pressure, right? But whatever little critique that they made at halftime in that playoff game may help me in my normal Saturday regular season game. You know what I'm saying? It's just things like that, and it's like, oh, that's what he was talking about. There's a lot of aha moments as we continue to go through this. It's just funky how this sport is.
In general, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a unique sport. I think of all sports, I think this is definitely anyone can pick up this sport at any time. You agree with that? Compared to a lot of other sports, I feel like because it fits a wide range of people and everything else.
Oh, I mean, you got
around.
different type of abilities.
Yeah.
I mean, look at us. Look at our makeup, right?
Yeah.
Now, no, it's not easy because I can't teach you how to grind if you've never grinded before. All you can know is that the work that we put in, all right, there are aspects to this that really suck, right?
Yeah.
But there are, but they're fulfilling. Why? Because now I'm better conditioned than my opponent, and there's a reason why, right? I've invested a little more time into this, so I'm beating my opponent, that one particular matchup I have. But like I said, it's just one of those things. You can bring all types of athletes, but it's that 1-2, right? That's definitely needed. And to be honest with you, in terms of just kind of how we wrapped up things. I'll be honest with you, with the guys that have not had as much experience as we've had, if we didn't have as much want-to from our core, we would not have gotten as far as we did. Y'all have to understand that part. You know what I mean? So there's aspects that go into it, and that, like you said, but the X factors of what this sport produces, is why this is just the best sport ever to me.
Yeah.
And you touched on it slightly, but when you're looking for a coaching job, what appealed to you about Severn?
I gotta come up now, too, in general.
Okay. Yeah. So the funny part about it, you can look at coaching aspects or pursuing coaching from two different lenses, right? I'm just gonna take whatever's available, or I'm gonna come to a spot and see what they have going on here. Like I've told y'all, the type of kid here is a little different in terms of there's not me, right? You can really be successful with that type of attitude. If you go to other teams, you'll have a handful of kids that are just me. But when I came here, that JV squad I helped out with, they were just learning. They just come fresh off of middle school, playing for their first year. But everything, I remember 3 of the kids had played linebacker, and DB in some capacity, whether it was safety or corner. Just because.
Yeah.
They had no idea who they were, what they were capable of doing. They didn't moan, they didn't complain, they just did it, right? And then on the offensive side of things, like, well, I can't catch, coach, so what can I do? You know what I mean? Like, they just, where can I be? That hooked me because it's like, oh, well, we could really work with this here. Because our coach's job is to put kids in the best, or players in the best position possible to be successful for their teammates. And when that foundation is, I just want to make this team get better, I want to be a part of that. The coaches that I came in with were very good. They accepted me right off the bat. There was no, I'm such and such, and I've been here for long. Mr. Bodley, he was.
You coaching Mr. Bodley?
He was on his last couple of years, last year coaching really, but he was there also all the time. So we would go down the list, talk about SEC football and everything, but he was there. And, he's encouraging all the kids to keep going and to keep working. Coach Beckman as well. And, it just you just dive right in and go right after it. So that was really cool. And then at that time, the head coach was Coach Kirchschneider. And his staff also really welcomed me in, Coach Ingram, Coach Holmes, Coach Dwayne, all of those guys. You look for a place where you can come fit in, and whatever little tidbits I can contribute, cool, I'll give it. And that's what brought me to Severn. Yeah.
So I guess going on a different note, once you're at Severn, or even just in general throughout your coaching career, what was recruiting like for you? And what are the struggles? What are the pros of it? And I guess at Severn, how has that worked for you?
Okay.
And I guess the differences here versus other schools and your career.
Severn's a bit of a different beast, right?
Yeah.
I can't bring a kid in just to play football.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And the second thing is, this should be the first, I should say. This kind of coincides with the first. You have to have the grades, right? So instead of, hey son, young man, how long you been playing football or anything like that, it's first question is, how the grades doing? Your honor roll, I want to know. And you see, right? Why? Because there's a standard here, and that standard has to be upheld, right? We've been looking for kids or players that have been working just as hard in the class as they are on their skills and technique, right, on the field. And in addition to that, there has to be that balance. A kid who can do it academically, because you guys both know it's not easy here. I would never, ever, ever, ever set a kid up to fail. Yeah. So, yes, you have one great semester, or it's kind of tricky now, and once you get that feel of it during your tour, like, I don't know. Well, that's okay. This may not be for you, but it's been fun recruiting you type of deal.
Yeah.
That's been the hard part, is just finding consistent kids who can do that, right?
Meet all the categories, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But and we're not the only show in town, right? There's a lot of other schools in this area. One thing that's definitely with my eyes, Anne Arundel County has a lot of talent. This area just has a lot of talent in general. Well, every coach around the Beltway knows it, whether it be the Beltway around Baltimore or the Beltway around DC. They all know it. So, as Severn, the community that we are very appealing. But then again, a kid may go to the other end of the Beltway and say, "Ooh, well, I want to be a part of this bigger community." So that's what it is. Also just measuring what kid wants to be here, right? Like wants to be in this groove. So when they come in and do the tours, they have to talk to you guys. Yeah. And a lot of them get great feels about it. And at the end of the day, it's that's their decision. Or am I going to drive 45 minutes to this school, or am I going to drive 20 minutes to that school, or whatever their factors may be. But I said, what I'm saying, it's just that's been one of the toughest parts, is just finding that happy balance with the type of student that's going to be successful here.
And then going off that, what's your pitch for a kid that you're trying to get here? Like, what do you really say? Like, is there anything you really just like nail home to them?
Well, I mean, you can't beat the fact that after this, you're going to college. You're going to a 4-year institution. I would say I kind of tweak mine of, at the end of the day, you're going to go down a list of schools that you want to choose, rather than waiting on the schools that, if they accepted you. There's a big difference with that. Yeah. And I was blessed and fortunate enough to have a list of schools to choose from myself, where my closest friends were waiting on everybody else. The beauty of schools like ours are, you have a college counselor that's working around the clock to help you with any little tidbit of your application that's needed, right? Because they want you to put your best foot forward too. So exposing that particular piece to our student athletes.
Yeah.
And so that's my pitch. That, and then the fact of, you come here, you're going to grow as a young man. And again, you guys have, I always talk about, you guys have the utmost character, right? I want that to spread.
Yeah.
I don't want to just keep that here. I want the guys who come in from outside schools to take that to their own communities and then be pillars of wherever they are as well. Because again, you guys will see it once you guys start coming back. Oh wow, they're doing that. They're doing that. Oh, I'm doing this now. I'm doing. Yeah, there's a reason. We saw it. It's in y'all.
Nice to see. Nice to hear that. So going off trying to build a team, like recruiting, what it's like trying to build a staff with a team. It's a little different. I know for you, it's like you talked about it earlier. Like I guess at the dinner we had and all. Mm-hmm. That a lot of the people from like your friends or just knew them around town. So how does that work? Or other than that, I guess.
Yeah. All right. I'm a man of faith, and God puts people in your life for a reason, right? Whether it's to learn, okay, that's not where I want to go, this direction I want to go, or this is definitely the direction I want to go. I wanted to set up a staff of guys who foster that go-get-it attitude, but here it has to be positive, right? Football is the best game ever. But I'm a coach who will also preach and tell you and just shout from the mountaintops, it's a game, right? At the end of the day, you can fold it, but you still have to go back to the responsibilities, obligations, and chores, for y'all's cases, that you have back at home. So understanding that there's a delicate balance with coaches that need that and also understand that, but also are ready to teach, no matter how long it may take, right? Like, our defensive playbook, it wasn't gotten and understood in the first 3-4 weeks, right? You have to diligently, all right, okay, why don't we understand this concept? Why don't we understand that concept? From an offensive standpoint, why aren't we understanding this? Why aren't we taking? We have to set up different methods of learning so that we can execute come game day. Practice, it'll be fun, great, but let's be real, we dial it back. We do go 70-80% for a reason. We got numbers to uphold, right? But game day, everybody's running at 120%. So with that said, the staff, the idea and the concept of the staff is you need guys that hit those. Teachers, positive coaches, those who are diligent in terms of bringing the best out of who they're responsible for. But then also those who are going to contribute and understand what this piece of, or what this community Severn is all about.
And a bit of a topic change, but you took over as head coach in 2017, I believe, and it was going into the year where they made the run for the B Conference Championship. Mm-hmm. Did you know, that summer, summer workouts started, training camp, this team can do it? This is that caliber of team that just has the talent?
Big time. So the year before that, I was the D coordinator. And to be honest with you, the reason why it sucks, it really sucks, is actually each year we've lost a key component to our team. Each year that I've been here. That particular year, it was Tyler Perriton and then Ben Bedard. So you just lost your quarterback and your tailback right there off the bat. Who came in at quarterback that year? Was it Bucci? Can't remember. I want to say it was Bucci. But the thing is, he wasn't truly a quarterback, right? Like, he played running back, fullback actually, but filled in, just a hard-nosed kid. That year, we squeaked out and grinded and won some tough games. The following year, same thing. And then, as I come on, that group were little brothers of the group that had just graduated. And, I mean, they had the experience underneath them. Their bodies had developed. I mean, you're looking at guys that, all right, we can make something work with this. That's the year we got the transfer quarterback, Craig. We got Henry Rentz. You know what I mean? Like the pieces aligned, and then Matt LaPola came on with like just great offensive concepts that we would just like implement. So as that went through, yeah, I mean the guys knew it. I mean I hate to make it too simple, but we were able to literally draw plays in the dirt, and they were executing because they had known and played and done so much reps. I mean, the funny part is, like, I mean, even then, that summer, there weren't any practices canceled because it was so hot or anything like that. Like, we did not miss a day, and those guys were going. So, in terms of that group, yeah, you knew we could do something. But I also knew how hard this league was. So, as long as you can stay healthy, you can stay in the fight. And we stayed healthy. Thank goodness.
And kind of going off that, like, what was it like your first year as a head coach? You're instantly like competing for a championship. What was that like for you?
That was surreal. I mean, when we goal set, like, the goal is to win your league. That being so far ago. So back then, you would win the conference with the best record. And I don't know, maybe everything, my mind was in a whirlwind with everything that was happening as the head coach for the first time. But I didn't realize that there was a playoff. That was actually the first year that we did a playoff in the MIA B conference. So the goal is just to have the best record in the league. The goal, me being a defensive guy, was to have the best defense bar none. So to be honest with you, whatever offense struggles have to be, I don't care. Defensive job is to get the ball back to the offense. So if we have to get the ball to the offense all the time and pitch shutouts, then that's what we're going to do. But it was just awesome because you set a goal and we saw it through. Yes, we came up short in the end there, but you still can't knock the diligence that went into pursuing that goal.
So, going from championship team to losing a season, what was that like as a coach, and how did that make, like, I guess, like, frustrations, like seeing our school not being able to play while other schools were playing, and like, I guess decisions going to that, like, how was that, like, trying to deal with that, especially like this your passion and everything else?
Man, I understood it, right? Like, this was funky. Nobody could write the story for what happened. I mean, there may have been something, some sci-fi movie or something in the midst, but that was just weird. So you had to be delicate with it. Everybody was in a wait and see, just situation and period. And to be honest with you, I mean, there's a part of me that is thankful that we still participated how we participated and didn't suffer any of the ramifications of participating during that time. But a part of me is like, oh, I wish we could have rolled the dice and maybe gambled it, you know what I mean, and gone with it. But again, that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to play with anybody's lives. I'm not going to, and I'm not knocking anybody that actually tried it. it was a kick in the head talking to other coaches on the other end who were participating because it didn't feel like football. But we were able to participate. I mean, we were able to play flag football. We were able to train. We were able to still be together. And, you know, again, that's one of the biggest components of why I love the sport, right? But we were all together. You know, it definitely was just unfortunate we didn't get to put pads on and go against other competition. You know, I guess long story short, still haven't identified exactly how I felt about that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not really on the fence of we definitely should have played. I'm content with how things went. I wish that we would have continued on because, I mean, think about the buy-in that we had throughout that entire fall, right?
That's a good group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then come that winter time in the spring, granted, like we should have just kept going and flowing, right? There are no dips. We just stay steady or keep climbing from there. But hey, things opened up, right? And everybody got to play whatever other sports they had. So again, my thing is, hey, at least everybody was conditioned because you guys wouldn't kick butt on track and that's what it was. So if that's what it took, cool.
Yeah.
You know, I'm with it. But yeah, like I said, it's unfortunate and it revealed just kind of newer landscape of why you don't take for granted, you know, any game, any practice, or any particular workout that you get.
And then this is kind of going back to like recruiting, like looking at players, but like
Okay.
what really specific trait do you look for in a player and how early do you see it? Like do you see it like almost like the first practice, like, oh, this kid has it or something like that where it's like he's just a player?
So when I go out, and maybe this will help paint a picture, I go to like their preseason workouts, and then I go to that first week of practice. And you know, I'll see about 4 practices for a team before I go to a game. I'm looking for a dog factor in a kid. If I see the dog factor, of course everybody else sees it, right?
Yeah.
But then I also want to see, I mean, it's the dog factor, the persistence. What kind of attitude you bring on a daily basis. Now, like I said, I go out in the preseason. There's no helmets. There's no pads. So that kid who's constantly winning in sprints, constantly in the front line of drills, or those kids that are, those kids who are helping everybody get adjusted in lines and things like that. I'm looking for that leadership stuff too. You know, to be honest with you, you're not gonna always feel like a dog every day, right? So it's fun to always go to a practice on Monday and then see what it's like on Thursday after their legs have been run. And if you still see a twinge in all of those little aspects I just mentioned, or you see that kid with his head hanging, it's like, all right, well, we'll see what kind of happens with him throughout the season. That's a kid I want to ask about a little bit more. You know, the talent is funny. I mean, you can see a kid and instantly see a kid's talent. But again, it's what kind of persistence in terms of critiquing a particular detail of their cut, a particular detail of their stance or their reads, right? Like, what kind of question is that kid asking? You get that in a practice that you don't get in the game. And in a game, you know, it is everybody's trying to win. So there sometimes we've recruited guys that have, you know, they don't play much in the games. But in practice, they're constantly asking questions. They're constantly showing the kids that are starting how things are done. You know, so that's the beauty of the sport. Once you get used to the pace of things, like you can really, it falls in place. It slows down for you. So I want those kids with resilience. I want those kids that, like I said, can do it all. Handle the full load of everything.
Handle situation, yeah.
Oh,
So, I guess going off that, who do you think the best player you ever coached at Severn was? Besides me.
Oh man, that's tough.
You know, you had Rents, Gergar.
Yeah.
I think I got before that as well. I still don't remember much.
Jerome's boys and everything.
Manches, Brad. Remember Brad, the big lineman?
Yeah.
He could have walked on at Wake Forest.
The funny part is a kid with intangibles. My first couple years. So one would be Tyler Perriton, and the other would be Jacob Jerose. Both were running backs, and for different reasons. So Tyler Perriton, you tell him what the concept was, but he had an instinct that you couldn't coach. I mean, he knew the play inside and out. He could tell you the entire playbook, no matter which side it was. He could tell you what the idea is, the concept was. He could all of that. You could read that down to you like it was, you just gave him the instruction manual and everything. But come game time, he would make this slight adjustment to the way he ran or anything like that, and he was literally like a little bowling ball. So that was awesome. And then you had Jacob Rose, who was a technician with everything he did. So he was a fullback for us, like a true H-back type wing guy. And whether it was come sealing a block, he knew exactly, I misstepped on this block here, but he wouldn't miss it again. And that's in addition to knowing to play inside and out. And then going on the other side of the ball, he played linebacker for us. He sometimes go down to D-tackle because he was a former wrestler and all that other stuff. Like, it's just one of those things where, again, there have been some crazy athletic guys. Don't get me wrong, there's some great guys, but those two stick out simply because as a coach, you call a play, it's like, all right, so watch out for this. We'll expect this. And you go, whoa.
Yeah.
We weren't expecting that defensive look, but look what happened, right? And just those little things like that. That happened consistently with those two. So I would say those two.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on, Coach.
Cool.
Happy to have you here. We thank you for being at Severn for all these years. We wish only the best for you going forward.
Appreciate it, baby.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Same to y'all. Can't wait to see and hear what y'all do next. Be looking forward to turning it on YouTube and hearing you guys at whatever college you are. So that'd be awesome, man. Keep going. Like I said, just be passionate about whatever it is you do. And do it till the wheels fall off. Do it till, something says you can no longer do it. That's passion right there, right? And you'll find it drives you, and you're going to enjoy life, this aspect of life, that much more.
I appreciate it, Coach.
Of course, baby.
Thank you.
Of course.